Hey guys, welcome back. Mooney here this week, and we're going to be talking hero reworks. What's up, guys? Mooney here this week. Kale is not with us. He is at TwitchCon, so if you would like to say hi to him or Chris Adelis, they are both out there. Chris will be hanging out with some of our Paragon folks.
That's right.
Kale will be, there may be some swag of different varieties there, so definitely go check that out, hit them up.
Right.
But this week I got Ed Diaz, a community coordinator, and then I got Cam Winston, lead hero designer, back again.
Hello.
And we're going to be talking V44 hero reworks. First of all, why are you wearing a jacket?
Why am I wearing a jacket? Okay, so I'm wearing a jacket.
Don't try to get that past me. You don't act like you can walk in here wearing a jacket and
because it's my official Epic Games jacket
there it is.
that I'm wearing.
Yep.
I mean, like I like it. It's warm.
I got it, dude. I got you, dude. It's warm. No, I got you. I get it. It's cold out here, folks. We're trying to stay warm.
It was cold. So the truth of the matter is, it's cold in the morning, and then it gets like obscenely hot. But then it gets like
yeah,
cold
it does
again.
tend to happen.
And like depending on the room you're in, sometimes it's cold, and so I needed my jacket.
Right, you need to thermodynamically adjust.
I do. I need to adjust my thermos.
There we go, guys.
Dynamically.
Adjust your thermos dynamically. All right,
Dynamically.
rolling into this community corner. So we're gonna be talking hero reworks, V44. Got some spicy stuff coming up.
right.
Definitely gonna be cool. I'm honestly excited for it. I saw some of the hero play today. But if you guys want to go into some specifics of what we can expect,
yeah. So from
Go ahead. No, go ahead. It's fine.
So from a community perspective, we did communicate to everybody. We let everybody know that we were moving away from the hashtag every 3 weeks that we were rolling with since launch, since we came public, and so we stepped away from that for a little bit, and we are going to go ahead and take a look at some of the previous heroes that we released, kind of revisiting them before we even jump into those heroes. Cam, why are we going back and revisiting some of these earlier on heroes? Why are we doing that?
This is going to be so cool that Mooney's going to wish that he had a jacket like we do. Because it's going to be on account of the thermodynamics.
Yeah, why are you giving Cam a hard time? You're the one without a jacket here today.
I'm very warm.
Yeah, you're the odd man out today.
Oh no, it's because I'm always lit, man.
It's because you're always lit.
It's I'm warm, always lit.
So the thing that like we did Monolith last time. You know, the first time we kind of revamped it, and we were like, okay, it was new kind of stuff, and we kind of like we're doing the every 3 weeks thing. So it took us a while to do a lot of hero reworks to kind of like update it for the new gameplay speeds, for the new mode, and so. Essentially what we're trying to do is we're trying to focus on being a little bit faster at doing that for some of the older heroes. But the truth of the matter is that when you get heroes that look like our heroes do, and our team does a phenomenal job of just delivering the highest quality, best animations, best modeling, all the great work they do.
Shout out to Art.
Yeah, shout out to Art. One does not simply just I can't just change things. Like it's not like, if we were doing this like simple isometric game, and every attack animation is like ha, and then it's like, and then sometimes the green ball comes out or sometimes the red ball comes out. Like you can make a lot of adjustments on the fly to that kind of gameplay. Pretty we call it designer effects. You can just like go in there and be like, hey, it's faster now or whatever. But like when you're trying to keep a level of visual fidelity and polish that we have in this game that our players have come to expect from us, it takes a little bit more work. We have to engage more of our cylinders to actually deliver that. So that's kind of the philosophy behind like what are we doing with hero reworks. So some heroes have really not had much in the way of real full adjustments since Legacy.
Right.
And like we've tweaked numbers on a lot of heroes.
Sure.
Like one of the heroes that we're reworking in 44 has been tweaked like so many times. He even had some heroes have even had other prior reworks before.
Right.
And we're really just like, we're looking at just how to leverage, okay, like we want to change what this hero does. We want to make this hero feel more dynamic and exciting. Maybe we have just a really old ability that we've never been able to make work in the kit, or sometimes it's really weird reasons. Like sometimes like we think an ability is really, really good, but it's just not sexy enough or just not fun enough for players, and the community just doesn't agree. And so we go, okay, well this didn't work, so we need to do something different.
Sure.
And I think it's something important to touch on is that making sure that in that every step of the process when looking at these heroes to rework them, that we're taking into account like the player feel, how things look in game, how it feels in game, does it feel right to use, and like these are all important aspects of these heroes as you come into learning like a MOBA. like Paragon. You see all these very high visual fidelity. When we talk about these things, these crazy team fights, you want to be able to know, when am I using this ability? Am I using it correctly? Is it doing the effect I have? Yeah. So I think that's a lot of, going into these hero weeks, some of the philosophies we want to keep in mind.
But it's also possible, part of it is also just like making it, like one of our heroes that we spent a lot of time on, we didn't actually change any of his abilities really, but we just made them feel better to use. And that's like, like part of it is like, passive abilities can be really sexy when they're like, like original old Greystone, right? His original passive was just like he gets more life,
right?
And it's like, well,
doesn't feel great.
Mathematically, about equivalent to what he gets now with his block, but it's way more dynamic to see him block a projectile with his hand than it is to like just get more health, even though the math is essentially the same. And like it feels like awesome to come back to life, right? And you fall from the sky, like those kind of like that visual like helps sell the pass. So passive abilities can be made to feel impactful based on more than just how good is the math, how effective it is. It's also like the feeling of actually using the ability and when it triggers.
Gotcha. So those are some of the things that we're revisiting with a lot of these heroes and what we're targeting for these heroes.
We're updating them, and it requires animators. It requires art.
Sure, absolutely. So jumping into more specifics, one of the heroes so just to preface, we're not going to jump into every single hero rework that is going to be coming in the Big 44 patch in just 2 weeks. 2 weeks now?
We're going to talk about 3 Gs on this. We're going to talk about Gideon, Grux, and your boy.
We don't have to talk about
me. So we won't talk about your boy, but we will talk about Gideon, we will talk about Grux, and we'll go ahead and jump right into it. So Gideon, this one was kind of an interesting one to me, and it might be a little bit interesting for some of the community folk out there. Gideon is typically a fan favorite, kind of does his thing out there, throwing meteors, big old black hole over people. So why was he the target of one of these reworks?
So Gideon is like one of our like kind of, if you had to pick like a hero to sort of like if Paragon was a box product, it's not. Like if there was a hero that was going in the box, he's a candidate for one of the heroes that would be like on the box, right? Like he's just like one of the most traditionally Paragon-y kind of heroes. He's highly popular. He's fun. Like dropping meteors on people is awesome. So when looking to rework him, what we were looking for is we didn't want to lose like who he was, right? We didn't want to like come in with this like completely new kit because we felt like the fans of who he is right now wouldn't respond well to that. What we wanted to do is we wanted to kind of be like, okay, there's 2 problems with him right now. Number one is he's got some design flaws in the way his ultimate works, and I can talk about that in a minute. But the other problem is like really Gideon was kind of like, when his ult was down, it's Meteor, the kit, the movie, the game, like that's it. Like you just drop a Meteor and it's like, I hate you.
Now what?
Now we auto.
Rinse
like,
and repeat, right?
It's like there's really not much. There's no like gameplay there. You just drop meteors on people until they either leave or you leave. And the problem we had with his his other abilities, like his burden, like people we floored the damage of that thing. We put a ton of damage into it. And we noticed based on our metrics, people just weren't leveling it. They weren't using it. And we think that's mostly because people just sort of like didn't want to deal with like how it was being used. They didn't realize it was doing a lot of damage. A lot of times damage over time things, they don't show giant numbers over people's heads, so people just don't value them as much.
Right.
And there was just, we'd sort of reached the end of our rope with like how much we could adjust his math. And then the final problem that Gideon has, the major problem is, his ultimate is like he needs to jump into a group of people because like you want to hit as many people as possible. But as the game gets on, you're essentially like going, kill me. And everyone just does. And then you just sort of die. And it's not even a question of like getting stunned out of it. Literally just look up and shoot you. And it's like, yeah, it's great control. And you can do a lot of good work with it in the beginning of the game. But like overall, it felt like almost like a tank kind of ability and not a mage kind of castery, wizardy ability. So we wanted it to move into more sort of like straightforward, but we still want to keep the spirit of the kid alive. So with that being said,
he's still the meteor slinging, just
meteor magician.
The meteor magician.
So like what we're doing specifically with the kit is, his teleport we're leaving exactly the same. We've changed the meteor from the sky to be a slightly larger radius. And it doesn't do quite as much damage as it does right now, but it has also a slow effect that you apply to players. And we've replaced Burden with a new meteor.
Hold up. 2 meteors.
Double meteor.
Yeah.
Meteor. So, hashtag meteor. Get it? Like more?
Meteor. Okay. This is just
all right, anyways.
fantastic.
So what he does is he kind of chucks a meteor going horizontally. So kind of like the gameplay now is like you kind of like try to line up, if you hit him with the slow, it's going to make them a little bit easier, and then you just tag them with the meteor.
So this is replacing Burden. Just
straight up replacing Burden. It's a new ability. Like, he now throws 2 meteors, which is like, that's just cool. Like, meteors are like the best part about Gideon anyway. So like, we're just giving you more meteors.
It's like meteors are the best part, so we're giving you another meteor.
Yeah. So, and essentially it's like, and that's just what we're talking about, like updating sort of like, it's still conceptually the same thing. Like, conceptually you still like want to hit someone with Burden and then hit them with a meteor, but now it's more like hitting them with the big damage meteor is a little bit more challenging, and then like, you know, so we'll see how it plays. Like, we're trying it out. We're going to see how it goes.
But
and
there's a little less of that gap in your mind of like, where is my damage coming from? In the sense that, hey, we make these kits so we can balance the damage across the kit, but now it's like, maybe I wasn't using Burden as much as I might be. More intuitive for me to do big meteor, small meteor.
Well, and also they both do big net damage pops now, so like it'll be a little bit more obvious to newer players, especially like, oh, I want to be leveling these up, and like, and the big change is we've reduced the radius of black hole, but now it stuns you, and that's going to be it stuns you.
In the entire AoE.
Everyone in the AoE. So essentially what we're saying is Gideon is now, the natural gameplay is I want to teleport above 5 people and ult them. Yeah. And now that's the correct thing to do. Yep. Now, admittedly, if, you know, it's still only doing like, it does a little bit less damage than one of his Cosmic Rifts, the meteor from the sky, to everyone. So it's not like this huge damage truck ability.
So the damage has been brought down then?
A little bit, yeah. It's a little bit of damage. But the thing about it is it's not for damage, really. What you do is, you know, if you're going to, like, let's say you see, you know, a fool is about, and you're trying to prey on the fool, and you discover, like, you slow them, you tag them with the meteor, now you jump over them, ult them, wait it out, meteor again. You can just sort of like, you can do a lot of burst damage now with Gideon, just really blow people up, and like, he's a lot of fun to play. And there's a lot of now, like, getting ulted by Gideon is now like in a team fight at the end of the game is like is a real big deal. So you have to really play around it. The cooldown's longer now. It's definitely like, I think it's like 2 minutes at the first level of the ability.
Gotcha.
So it's
so
like
high impact, high
it's
cooldown.
a high impact, high cooldown ability, but man, like, you got to play around it, because like if you're like a Narbash or a Rampage and you're like the one guy with the ranged stun in your team, you got to like make sure you don't get hit by that so you can knock him out of the sky
and save your team.
So it kind of provides for a little bit more of an intuitive bread and butter kind of combo you can roll out with on Gideon, but still, you know, allows you for later in the game, if you want to make those impactful high skill plays, you can really use that ultimate to push that forward. Right?
Yeah, like essentially, I mean, at the end of the day, like, yeah, early game, like, he's a rotating death machine dropping meteors in your head. Late game, he's like, you're just looking for the perfect ult, right? Like, if you can land the ult, then you're golden. It's kind of like
optimal singularity.
Yeah. All right.
What's up, physicists?
All right.
Yeah. So from a competitive standpoint, this is something I was a little concerned about. So we were having a discussion a little bit before I jumped into a playtest. I wanted to try out this new Gideon. I wanted to see how he played. I'll be perfectly honest about it, as I'm sure there's some people watching this video now who are hearing this and kind of being like, I don't know. Gideon was fine the way that he was. Gideon's awesome. Gideon's a staple, obviously, as Cameron already touched on. And coming from somebody who was pretty hesitant to be like, oh, yeah, awesome, great. Rework coming in for Gideon. One of my favorite mages to play in the middle lane. After I played it, I have to say, especially when you were touching on some of the hand feel stuff and how it all feels, he just feels like such a, for lack of a better term, he feels like a badass when you're playing him. You're slinging meteors everywhere. That ultimate feels great. Doesn't feel like legitimately like you're putting yourself in danger in the later parts of the game. Now there is still counterplay that exists in what you're saying here. As you said, that some of the damage came down a little bit. You just have to make sure, if you are that CC for your team, staying outside of that radius and sending him outside of it.
And the thing also about it, from a competitive player standpoint, just for the guys who like to get technical out there, the stun is only applied once. So if you have like one of those, I forget the name of the gem, the one that breaks after you break your CCs or taking 500 damage. If that pops while you're in Gideon's ultimate, you'll be out of it. Like, or if you have a hit button to become free of stun kind of card, like when you're ever in that situation, like you can break the stun, it won't reapply unless you leave and come back.
But there's a little bit more of a rock paper scissors involved with interacting with that ultimate now. Like, hey, what am I going in with versus what is he going to use? When is he going to use it? When am I going to use this?
It's not like a constant, like,
just get that guy.
Every stun, every tick of damage.
Right.
It's just like you can actually play around it, especially like if you've got like the spell shield, and Gideon ults you, it'll pop the spell shield, and then you won't get stunned, and you can just turn around and hit him.
Gotcha. So probably a good option, especially against heroes like Gideon.
So yeah, and I think one of the things is like though with a lot of these like reworks, I mean like with the Gideon stuff, like I think that like that definitely is gonna be helpful for a lot of these newer players also understanding like this heroic fantasy of like I'm this dude, I'm gonna be throwing these meteors around, and then when I like when I have my ultimate down, it is doing an impactful form of something where I don't feel like I'm just exposing myself.
Well, also it's more like ulting someone is usually essentially landing the multi-person ult is now correct in almost every situation. Instead of going like I ulted, there was a team fight at OP.
Right.
I ulted everybody and I still got punished for it.
Or it didn't feel like it felt like I was doing the right thing, but then it
exactly. It almost felt counterintuitive in a way where it was like the more people I ultimate, the faster I die.
Yep.
The less people I ultimate, the
yeah,
slower
so it's
I
like
die.
so like you use this giant big AoE team fight ultimate that's a giant black hole, but the best use of it is ganking a solo dude. It's like that's kind of weird. So
Gotcha.
Anyways,
and we did try to problem solve some of those, right, Cam? I mean, if I recall correctly, we tried some other options outside of the stun. Even.
Yeah, we tried a silence to start with, and the silence worked very well. Except again, late game carries just looked up and went pew pew pew, and you just died, and it was like, well, the end. So like that's kind of the problem with it is that like you didn't have. We didn't get enough of the gameplay. We just needed it. We're just like, no, like we need this to happen. Like it's kind of like when Steel shows up and he just ults you and you get stunned. Like it's like this is something that he needs to just be able to do.
Gotcha. Right. Gotcha. Okay, so outside of Gideon,
I mean, I'll tell you one person I don't want to run into. I don't want to run into later in the game is this new Grux guy. Like, this is he was looking. Cam was playing some nice Grux earlier. I'm gonna be honest. Like I was supporting him from sitting behind him.
Yes,
so,
I was making plays for you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
that was very touching for me.
Yeah, I was dedicating all my kills of Takpa to
get out of here, Ta.
Yeah, race car Grux, get out of here.
Race car Grux.
So
more to that, similar to Gideon. Let's talk a little bit about Grux as he exists now in the live environment. What are some of the things that we wanted to target here? Was it more of some of the feel stuff? Was it more aimed at this isn't the hero, this isn't what we want this hero to do sort of thing? Talk to us a little bit about that.
So like one of the problems we have with a lot of our original hero designs, I'm talking like the original like 10 heroes we launched with, was like they were like kind of concept heroes. We're like, look, this is Rhino dude. And he's like, he's cool. Like, what does he do? Like, well, he's got these hammers, so like he hits the ground and like
that's who was living above us in our old apartment.
Exactly. It was Grux. So it's like, but the thing is, like, we didn't really have like, okay, this is specifically what this hero needs to do, right? And a lot of these older heroes are starting to like, show their age in this regard. Essentially, is because it's like, well, they don't have a specifically designed like Bellica. Like, what Bellica is there to do. Her whole kit allows her to achieve her goal, her purpose of life. You see how she's supposed to work. Grux was kind of like, what does he do? Right. Like, what is the purpose of this hero? He's not really tanky enough to be a tank. He's not really damagey enough to be a damage guy. Right. Like, he kind of gets on you, and it's like you're going, I wish I was Kwong. I wish I was Crunch. I wish I would I just basically Grux suffers from I always wish I was someone else. Like someone else could do this better.
It's actually really funny that you bring that up because as an example, I was hanging out in a Twitch stream just a few days ago, and Jay Leo, fantastic jungler. Thrives in the competitive scene for Paragon currently. Awesome guy. So I was checking out his stream, listening to him talk, and he's talking heroes. He's talking Grux in particular, and he's just like, he almost said that exact same thing. I kid you not. Why would I be playing Grux here in this situation as opposed to playing Kwong, as opposed to playing some of these other options?
Because like other people have like, like essentially when you're a jungler, you're the whole purpose in your life is you're meant to surprise out of the jungle. There's a dude who's essentially, he's out of position, he's low on life. You're there to prey on targets of opportunity, right? You're like, I'm here to like make a play happen. So like, whether it's the overextended carry in the safe lane or the greedy mid looking for a kill or like the mid stayed too long, off laner pushed up too high, like whatever it is your play is, you're looking to make the play. When you roll out of there, if you're like a Kwong or a Rampage, you start with some kind of control, you start, you set up a big slow and you like set up this guy to die. Grux sort of like, what does he do? He pulls you and then like, he kind of hits you, and hopefully you don't have some way to disengage.
And
you clap.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you have your ult, I mean, you clap. But even then, like, you don't really. Like, he didn't really have like. he just like
there's no clear path for my, like what I'm like I can or there's like no flow chart, clear direct flow chart for me to go into combat doing, and that's like kind of what we wanted to do with some of the things we did do.
Right. Also, like he had this dash, and one of the things we're trying to do, and like you noticed with Steel, with Shield Bonk and stuff, we're trying to like make it so that big bruiser guys, we're trying to put more math into them, but we don't need them just running around the map like race cars, right? We don't need like giant dash that you can use to run away. So essentially, we want more decisive engagement. So we like people initiating. We just don't like them running away. So like the problem with like why did we like remove Steel's charge and make it a bonk? You'll notice it's way more effective now as a bonk than it was as a charge, but it also stops Steel just deciding, you know, this fight is over, my people need me, boom, I'm gone, right?
Here.
And like Rux has the same problem, Sevarog has the same problem, Rampage has the same problem. Just, you know, we joke, we're at CEO Rampage, excuse me, I have 3 o'clock, I have to leave. Like she's gone. It's like I know that this fight was important to you, but I have you know, the accountants are here, we need to go over the quarter 3 fiscal reports. You know, it's very important. I'm sorry, guys. Like, so we need to like stop that from happening, because how can you make a guy like that super tanky and impactful when he just decides that he's done with the engagement?
While also being mobile and whatnot.
So what is Grux's thing? So like we looked at the model, we looked at Grux. So what is the fantasy of being Grux? He's this big beast guy with these massive clubs. He just beats the heck out of you, right? So like we think there's like, again, there's room to try to push every hero. So kind of like Rampage's shtick is like he's the regenerating jungle beast, and Kwang's thing is he's this like sort of like really tanky, tough swordsman that's like good positional mobility. You know, you got like Crunch's thing where he just like shows up and deletes you with burst damage. It's like, but he uses abilities. So we want to like Grux's thing to be like, okay, this is the guy that he just swings slow and heavy and just hits you really hard. And like he is, and so we've massaged his tools a little bit to do that. So the first thing we did.
Does he still have his pool cam? Just please tell me he's still, okay.
He does.
Thank you.
I'm satisfied. He's still double pain and smash and grab are still there.
Okay.
We did a lot of like technical work on double pain and on smash and grab rather to make it like work a little bit more consistently. So it now should line up more with the visual effects. So you should like, so it's not just land and everyone gets pulled. It's like it kind of goes out like an earthquake, and when the earthquake gets to you, you should get pulled.
Gotcha.
So that should be a little bit better.
So where it interacts now in live, if I'm sitting at the edge of the radius of this pool and he activates it, I'm getting pulled regardless. Now I basically have some time for
if you're right on the edge, you might be able to juke it a little bit. Like or if you're twin blast, you can just jump back, something like that.
Still, if I'm a Grux, I get the jump on someone, I should be able to get them in.
Yeah, I mean, you got to be like, you got to know it's coming to have a shot of dodging it.
Sure.
Like it's too fast to like really get out of. So his double pain, we made it like you know, more of a truck ability now. So now what it does is it gets a bonus damage and a bonus percentage of his basic attack. So like we don't obviously talk about, you know, balance them, but essentially it's like somewhere between like, you know, some percentage bonus damage plus some flat bonus damage.
Right.
So like it's just hitting
like
really
chunk,
hard. Yeah. And it has a longer cooldown. We changed his dash. Instead of being like a dash that just goes in a line, it's a really short, and I'm talking really short. Though I did dodge a Murdoch ult with it, which was hilarious.
Oh no, he did. He did. I saw it. I was there.
That was yeah. I was trying to make
very
space.
Surprising.
And it was just enough to dodge it, but like
space created for myself.
He just does this uppercut with his bone cleaver. I don't think we have a name for the ability yet. I should probably talk to Loke about that. But like it comes up and like he just knocks you up in the air. It's just a follow up stunt.
Is this the ult? So this is the ultimate that we're talking about.
No, it's just a little. This is E. His secondary ability.
Gotcha.
So it'll be what is it? Triangle or
so it's a dash with a knockup attached to it at the end.
Yeah, but the dash. I mean, calling it a dash is kind of like. It's like half the distance of a twin blast dash. It's like not really far.
That's what I was going to reference. Actually, I was going to reference the twin blast dash.
It's like it's a little it's like a step, and then he just knocks you up a little bit. So you can pull a guy, double pain them, knock them up, just beat them with his new ultimate, which like has this wonderful like he just roars, and the sound guys really killed it on this one. It's huge roar, and he just smashes his clubs together with this big roar, and he gets a bunch of bonus damage. Like a bunch for like 15 seconds. So he does is he turns on his ultimate. He becomes this like he just starts hitting stupidly hard.
Beast.
Like and just you got to control him and kill him and get him get him to die because he's just gonna come trucking through you. He's really fun to play as a tank because he gets a lot of his damage from his ultimate, so you can play around that. You can also play him as just crazy double dip into like attack, and he just like 3-shots people.
Sure.
With his when his ult's up, it's just like
what you're saying is don't let Grux in his zone.
No, no, you don't
let him into his zone. Right?
Yeah, when his pull is down though, like he has no way to gap close anymore.
Sure.
So he can't like if he basically you play around his pull and you control him and you just ruin his day that way. He doesn't have any sort of inherent survivability.
Right.
Like a character like Kwong or Rampage does. So like during control windows you just burst him down and he just dies.
Right.
But if he gets on you or your towers. Oh man, late game, like if a game goes long and you just have a bunch of money and you hit your ult and you're like hitting the tower for like 400.
Gotcha.
Good times.
Pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Pretty crazy stuff. Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I think that will be definitely interesting to see kind of the different ways people decide to play it, whether they go the more very aggressive route or kind of just find that mix and really have people explore these like newer kits.
Right.
And I think that's like, I mean, we deep dive on like 2 specific ones, but there are a list of other heroes we have that we're looking at as well.
Absolutely, and I'm actually really excited now that I've gotten some more details. I have yet to play the new version of Grux, but I have seen you play the new version of Grux, and he looks awesome. I think something that I kind of experienced when playing him was like, hey, I go in, dash in, do my combo, clap or pull him in, do the double swing, clap. What now?
It's
sort
like,
of thing.
It's like
legitimately just get ignored at that point, especially when you're going kind of a tanky bruiser-ish build. Legitimately just get walked away from. I think that this kind of gives him that identity that, like, as you kind of spoke to a little bit, look, you have to deal with me. I'm on top of you. I have this bonus damage for X amount of seconds. I'm doing a lot of damage.
Well, now he claps. He pulls you. He trucks you. He stuns you. He hits you. You're dead.
Yeah.
Like he just killed you. Like he hits so hard. You can't let him on your carry. I mean, obviously, like if you're like a Rampage or a Kwong or another bruiser, you can deal with him. Like you can tie him up for days, but he still hurts. You have to deal with him. Yeah. But like someone who is actually equipped to take that punishment could like kind of fight him. But you need a front line to deal with him. If you just are like, this is my all like mage lineup featuring Murdoch. Like good luck. Like if they all get hit with the smash and grab, he's just gonna go double pain and hit everyone for like 400, and you're all just dead.
Gotcha.
Yeah, he's got that, it's like the dash, the ding dong. It's like, hello, it's Grux. What's up, guys? How you doing? It's me. It's your boy.
Did you just turn to the gates just now?
Yeah. That's the doorbell. Let's not. It's
ding dong, bada boom, bada bing,
I mean like that, and that's the sort of thing we want to take this kind of look at. Other heroes as well. Like we have other heroes on this list that we're going to be looking at.
Yep.
And
so we only talked about 2 of them today, but there are a number of heroes that are going to be coming into the V44 patch with some new reworks, nice and shiny reworks. I'm very excited about some of them. One in particular that we are not talking about today. We can only give you guys so much. We can't give you everything. We cannot give you everything. What else are you going to come to Community Corner for besides this wonderful gentleman?
What's up,
to watch Mooney wear a turtleneck.
I'm out here. Send me turtlenecks. Don't send me turtlenecks.
So I'm really excited to kind of get that in front of you guys. Really excited for you guys to check that out. Like as I said, there is one hero specifically who I'm very excited for you guys to play. So
I wonder what that hero is. I wonder what role that hero plays. Besides that,
yeah. If you guys, little tidbit for those of you guys at home, for those of you guys who know anything about me or what role I pretty much am considered a one-trick across the office here as far as
support.
Definitely support. Main support. But if you can kind of piece those together, you probably have a nice.
There you go. That's a little Easter egg for you guys. So little Easter egg, Halloween Easter egg.
There you go. There you go.
But on that note, I do. We'll be back next week, Community Corner. I will not be here, but I believe in these beautiful men to champion you through that and bring more of that juicy 44 information your way.
That's right.
We will have some blogs dropping next week covering some of the UI stuff we got coming up.
Yep, really juicy.
Some really awesome, cool stuff. So be on the lookout for that. We're gonna be dropping some blogs all week, just getting that information out to you guys. But for this week, I'm here. We got Ed, we got Cam. Really happy to have you guys.
You're gonna drop it like it's a blog.
That's great having you guys. And we'll see you next time.
See ya.